Once people start to lower themselves to pursue, they become worthless. So when I found out the campus beauty, who rejected my 99 confessions, had actually liked me from the first glance. She just enjoyed the feeling of being pursued by the guy she liked. So she deliberately rejected me time after time. That's when I decided not to care about her anymore. I started to focus on my studies instead, and asked my professor to guide me for a study exchange abroad. Before leaving, I wanted to settle everything. I planned to completely break things off with her. At the campus beauty's birthday party, when I arrived at the door, the birthday party had already begun. From inside the private room came familiar noises. Why hasn't How you arrived yet? Could he be preparing a surprise? He's already confessed 99 times. The 100th time is coming soon. Xiaowei, you have to agree to him this time. That's right. It's obvious you like him too. If you reject him again this time, a potential lover right in front of you might actually run away for good. Hearing the teasing from her close friends, Xu Xiaowei confidently smiled and replied, How you likes me so much. He won't run away. The next time he confesses, he'll agree to be with him. Hearing her confident tone, I just found it ridiculous. There won't be a next time. In the 2 years I pursued Xu Xiaowei, I had given up all my pride, disregarded the mockery from so many classmates, every day thinking of new ways to win her heart. But my sincere feelings were never reciprocated.
I had also thought about giving up.
Now I just want to leave, completely disappear from Xu Zhuai's world. When I pushed the door open and walked in, the whispers in the private room immediately stopped. Everyone turned away at once, started talking about something else, pretending not to see me. Xu Xiaowei also picked up her wine glass, joining a game with Li Juo, her face cold and distant, not even bothering to glance at me once. I looked at her once, couldn't help but secretly marvel. Her acting skills were truly impressive, faced with the indifference of the entire room. I didn't feel any loss at all. I simply walked to an empty chair in the corner and sat down. For more than an hour afterwards, everyone was chatting animatedly, while I just sat alone scrolling on my phone, as if I were invisible. Before, whenever Yu Zhaowei appeared, I would definitely find an opportunity to get close to her, think of all kinds of topics, to attract her attention. Even for this birthday party, I had to beg her for a long time, and ask many people to help persuade her, before she finally invited me. Logically speaking, something difficult to obtain should be more cherished, but looking at me in my casual clothes, my appearance not particularly groomed, my casual attitude, as if I didn't value her birthday at all, this made Xu Zhaowei unable to maintain her cool facade. She secretly glanced at me a few more times, after singing the birthday song and cutting the cake. It quickly came to the gift-giving part. I waited until everyone else had given their gifts, then slowly stood up, took out a small calendar from my bag and handed it over. Everyone in the room looked at me in surprise, because this calendar was only as big as the palm of a hand. It had 30 pages in total, looking extremely simple. I didn't care about everyone's gaze. I looked at Xu Ziaowei. Xu Zhuwei spoke softly. From today onwards, you tear off one page each day. When you tear off the last page, there will be a surprise. That's the belated birthday gift I prepared for you. Hearing this, her close girlfriends immediately giggled. The 100th confession, right? You're really persistent. It's been 2 years and you're still trying? Do you like Xiaowei that much? Influenced by these words, Xu Zhaowei naturally thought this was a countdown calendar for the 100th confession. My lips curved up slightly, but immediately straightened again, becoming an expressionless face. Before you only said if I confess 100 times, you would consider, but didn't say you would definitely agree. I know everyone has misunderstood. Actually, when you tear off the last page, it's not the day I confess, but the day I completely disappear from your world. I didn't explain, just smiled faintly, deliberately said to Xu Shuai, I've pursued you for so long without moving your heart. I really want to know, what exactly is your ideal type? As soon as I finished speaking, the entire room suddenly fell silent. Everyone looked at me with puzzled expressions. Xu Xiaowei stared at me intently. After a moment of silence, just as she opened her mouth, about to describe her ideal type, the closed door was pushed open, immediately drawing everyone's attention. Before all the gazes, Du Ziteng entered carrying an exquisitely wrapped gift box, flashing a brilliant smile at Xu Xiaowei. Happy birthday? Xiaowei. Xu Ziwei's eyes followed this greeting. Toward Du Ziteng, he gently tapped his finger on the table, continuing the interrupted conversation. My ideal type is definitely someone warm and bright, radiant, refined, polite, like the handsome boy next door. Having just walked in and heard these suggestive words, Du Ziteng's face immediately turned red. He quickly stepped to Xu Zhaowei's side, giving her the carefully prepared gift, encouraging her to open it right there. In an instant, everyone's attention was diverted. No one continued discussing the previous topic. Watching the two being surrounded by the crowd, I didn't show any sadness. Instead, I calmly returned to my original seat. The entire evening, wherever Xu Xiaowei went, Du Ziteng was always by her side. The two laughed and talked happily, helped each other drink toasts, shared a piece of cake. I silently watched their intimate behavior. Many memories flashed through my mind. Although Xu Xiaowei was the campus beauty, with many pursuers, she always kept her distance from boys, and the only exception was Du Ziteng, her childhood friend who grew up with her. He would fix her messy hair, would go to class with her, buy her breakfast, even made bets with girls from other schools for her sake, participated in competitions. These favors in my eyes were all like thorns piercing my heart. But until the day I discovered the truth, I finally understood. Although Xu Xiaowei and Du Ziteng were childhood friends, before that, they weren't actually close. Du Ziteng was always clinging to Xu Xiaowei, but she never paid attention to him until I appeared. She deliberately, purposefully, displayed intimacy with Du Ziteng in front of me just because she wanted to make me jealous, to give me more motivation to pursue her. Therefore, when I saw Xu Xiaowei acting in front of me, I only felt ironic. I put down the wine glass in my hand, stood up and went to the bathroom, splashed water on my face, instantly feeling more clear-headed. Just as I was taking a paper towel to wipe the water drops on my face, my vision was blocked. I didn't notice someone had suddenly appeared beside me until I heard Du Ziteng's mocking voice. I realized something was wrong. Lu Haoyu, you've been pursuing Xiaowei for so many years. I looked up, stared directly into Du Ziteng's eyes. A strange feeling welled up inside me. She has never responded to you, yet you still have the thick skin to come to her birthday party to pursue her. I am begging you. She fundamentally doesn't like you. Can't you know your place? You cheap, clingy thing, looking cultured and polite, but the words coming out are so vulgar. Too bad. I wasn't bothered at all by his words. Just looked at him calmly. Are you done with your insults? Du Ziteng didn't expect my reaction to be so calm. He was momentarily stunned, but he didn't want to appear weak either. He directly folded his arms across his chest. Of course not. Do you know what they say about you at school? The clingy dog who confessed 99 times. You're a university student after all. Don't you have any self-respect? Anyone with eyes can see Shuei likes me. Why don't you open your eyes and see clearly? Looking at his insulting demeanor, I remained completely unfazed. I just shifted my gaze from him to behind his back. And a reminder, before insulting someone, you should check behind you first. Du Ziteng followed my gaze. His face full of confusion, he turned around. Immediately saw Xu Xiaowei standing at the door. She seemed to have been standing there for a long time, probably witnessing the entire scene. Realizing this, Du Ziteng immediately panicked. On his face, quickly changed to a pitiful expression. No trace of arrogance remained. He hurriedly stepped to her side, grabbed her hand, frantically explaining non-stop. Xiaowei, it's not what you think. It was Lu Haoyu. He provoked me first. But Xu Xiaowei seemed unbothered, clearly witnessing Du Ziteng insulting me, but acting as if she hadn't seen anything. She glanced at me once, then took off her jacket, put it on Du Ziteng, in a gentle voice. The wind outside is strong. You're dressed so lightly. Be careful not to catch a cold. After saying this, she linked arms with Du Ziteng, turned and went back to the party room. Du Ziteng hadn't expected her to react this way. Seemingly unconcerned about him insulting me, immediately becoming more confident, he turned his head back triumphantly, revealing a mocking smile. Ridiculing my dignity, I ignored him, turned and went downstairs. My mind replayed what had just happened. I let out a cold laugh when she put the jacket on Du Ziteng. Her eyes were clearly directed at me, her mouth saying words of concern for Du Ziteng. How should I put it? Her acting skills were truly outstanding. If I didn't know her hidden thoughts, perhaps I would have really been fooled by her and would have to suffer for a while longer. Things like tonight actually weren't happening for the first time. Over the years to pursue her, I had put down all my pride and dignity, no matter how others mocked, ridiculed, even insulted me to my face. I didn't care. I just wanted to focus on myself, achieve what I wanted, not wanting to leave any regrets. That's why I persisted in confessing 99 times, but the person I liked for 2 years, because she enjoyed my pursuit. Let all the insults and rumors continue. This hurt me more deeply than 10,000 curses. Outside, it was pouring rain. Taxis had almost all stopped running. The whole group was stuck at the bar entrance. Xu Xiaowei called her family's private driver. Said she wanted to give Du Ziteng a ride home. Du Ziteng immediately looked smug, glancing sideways at me, deliberately saying, "This late at night, everyone else has already gone. Leaving Lu Haoyu alone waiting for a ride like this. Doesn't seem right, does it?" Xu Xiaowei took an umbrella from the driver, her voice indifferent. "He has legs." After saying this, she didn't look at my reaction, led Du Ziteng to the car. Watching the luxury car gradually disappear in the rain, I didn't mind, continued to call a ride on the app, waited in the cold wind for more than 2 hours. The rain gradually stopped. Finally, a driver accepted my order. When I got home, it was already 2 in the morning. I brushed off the raindrops clinging to me, slowly walked to my door, entered the passcode. Just as the door opened, the door opposite also flung open. Xu Xiaowei coldly stepped out, her eyes without any warmth. "Next time, come home earlier. The door sound is too loud. It disturbs my rest." I looked at her, saw that she hadn't changed her clothes yet, understood something, laughed coldly. I casually replied, "Sure," then turned and entered my room, turned on the light, closed the door. After I finished changing my shoes, outside the door came the sound of a forceful slam. I paid no attention, took off my wet clothes, turned on the air conditioner, wrapped myself in a blanket and lay on the sofa. This apartment was half a year ago. When I heard Zhu Ji Wei moved out of the dormitory, I specially bought it. To pursue her, I also moved out to become her neighbor. Mornings bringing breakfast, nights saying goodnight, creating all kinds of encounters every day, just to move her heart. But no matter how much I cared, she never bothered to respond, rarely replied. But until I discovered her secret, I realized she always pretended not to care. Like tonight, she had clearly been home for a long time, but because she was worried about my safety, she didn't sleep. But when she saw me, she deliberately said those unnecessary words. Her act of saying one thing but meaning another. I was tired of watching. Also didn't want to play along anymore. So I opened my phone, went to the real estate app, posted information to sell the house. If I had decided to leave, then I had to cut ties completely. The next morning, just as I left home to go to school, Xu Zhuwei blocked my path in front of the elevator. Xu Zhuwei spoke somewhat awkwardly. "I'll drive you to school." I shook my head in refusal, but she was insistent, adamant about driving me. I found all kinds of excuses, from being late to it being out of the way, seeing her about to pull out even environmental protection reasons. But I didn't want to get entangled any further, so I reluctantly agreed. Throughout the journey, neither of us said a word. The car was strangely quiet, used to hearing me chattering in her ear, seeing me so silent. Xu Xiaowei was uncomfortable, inwardly somewhat surprised. It seemed it wasn't her imagination. These days, I did seem to have really changed. These changes inexplicably began to make her panic. Arriving at school, I unbuckled my seatbelt, threw back a thank you, then left first. I walked quickly through the school gate, but discovered people passing by, all looking at me with strange expressions, whispering among themselves. "Is that Lu Haoyu?" "Yes, the one on the hot search." How embarrassing. Hearing these puzzling words, I quickly opened my phone, immediately saw several messages from friends. Opening them, I discovered someone had posted about my pursuit of Xu Jiaowei on a forum to ridicule me, and it had become a hot search topic. I silently looked at the screen, looking at the words, "the clingy, lovesick fool of the university." I stood stunned. The most prominent post in this section detailed every action of my pursuit, written carefully, missing no detail. Even the content of my love letters was exposed. From a distance, I also saw that in front of the school's bulletin board, a crowd had gathered. On it were posted all the love letters I had written. Everyone was laughing and commenting. "Drowning in your eyes is so cheesy." Love letters written in all sorts of flowery ways. This kind of blind love is really scary. Wasn't he said to be the #1 talent of the school? How can he be so clingy? Hearing these merciless mockeries, my heart grew heavy. I charged straight into the crowd, tore each letter. As I tore the last one, Du Zitang's bitter, mocking voice rang in my ear. "Xiaowei, Lu Haoyu has confessed to you so many times. Do you have any feelings for him at all?" Su Xiaowei's voice remained cold as usual. She just answered one word. "Zero." When both main characters appeared on the scene, I was also insulted right to my face. The laughter from the crowd grew louder, more carefree. A few troublemakers, fearing it wasn't chaotic enough, deliberately mocked me. "Lu Haoyu, you've confessed 99 times, and only got a big fat 0. Shouldn't you try harder? When will the next confession be?" "Well, come to watch. Watch and give you advice." "How about that?" I clutched the torn pieces of love letters in my hand. My fingers turned pale from the force. The words I wanted to say rose to the tip of my tongue. I was about to speak, but seeing the drama-hungry eyes around me, I held back, gave a sneering laugh, raised the stack of love letters in my hand, as if waving a battle flag, loudly announced. "Fine then, the 100th confession, at the central square of the school, October 3rd, 9 a.m. I invite the whole school to bring their friends to watch." After saying this, I ignored everyone's reaction. With reddened eyes, gritting my teeth, walked away proudly from the scene. That morning, I didn't go to class, but returned home. The water tap dripped steadily, filling a basin. I didn't hesitate to plunge my head into the water, until my chest felt suffocating. Only then did I push against the basin and stand up, breathing in gulps of fresh air. My mind, dizzy with anger, gradually became clear again. I looked at my now calm face in the mirror, tore each love letter into pieces, then burned them to ashes, flushed everything down the drain. Over the weekend, the club that had been quiet for so long suddenly sent a message, saying they wanted to gather. It happened to be when I needed to submit my withdrawal application, so I went there. As a result, just as I pushed the door open, I saw Suju Yu, who had never participated in these activities before, appearing for the first time. I didn't look around, just acted as if I didn't see her, sat alone in the corner of the room. As soon as they saw me, Du Zitang's friends immediately started their act of coordinated teasing. Why did Xiaowei agree to come here? Of course, because Zitang likes lively gatherings. Everyone knows the campus beauty only listens to Zitten. I was too lazy to pay attention to their games, casually took a few oranges to peel and eat. When everyone had gathered, the club president announced the start of the game. I wasn't interested, but was dragged to participate, so I reluctantly played this boring great adventure game after 7 or 8 rounds. Finally, it was XUA's turn to lose. Everyone excitedly shouted, "Oh, beauty slash, you drew the card for a 3-minute kiss with any opposite sex person here. Quick, beauty, choose who to share the punishment with." I knew she wouldn't choose me, and didn't care who she would choose. lowered my head to fiddle with the dice in my hand, not saying a word, waiting for what would happen next. Everything happened as I predicted. XUZUA chose Du Ziteng, but she made one request. All the lights in the room had to be turned off. The room was plunged into darkness. Only breathing sounds could be heard, and occasional whispers from the members. 3 minutes later, the lights came on. Xu Xiaowei sat down first. Du Ziteng stood frozen in place, his expression not particularly pleasant. The lipstick on Xu Xiaowei's lips was still pristine. Clearly, she hadn't kissed him. I gave him a casual glance. Heard the president announce the start of a new round. I casually threw 3 dice. Unexpectedly, all 3 showed 1 point, the lowest total score in the room. Losers must accept their punishment. I said nothing, drew a card from the deck. It was the exact same punishment card as before. At once, everyone in the room showed excitement, their eyes darting between me, Xu Xiaowei, and Du Ziteng. I pretended not to notice, casually spun the game wheel. The pointer landed on a junior female student sitting across from me. For a moment, everyone thought I would change my mind. They held their breath, watching, but I maintained my expression and stood up, walked straight to the junior student, indifferently said, "Sorry to trouble you." The junior student was stunned, just about to stand up. Su Xiaowei suddenly jumped to her feet, kicked over her chair. While everyone was still confused, she coldly interrupted, "Playing this long, I am getting tired." As soon as she spoke, her close friends immediately supported her. The president had no choice but to announce a pause in the punishment for a break. A few girls said they were a bit hungry. Some roommates dragged the boys downstairs, said they were going to buy food. This trip took 20 minutes. Seeing that no one had returned, the president didn't want to wait any longer, directly announced the continuation of the game. I put down my phone, looked around, only then discovered that the junior student had disappeared. More precisely, all the girls except Xu Xiaowei were nowhere to be seen. I didn't need to guess. I knew this was again Xu Xiaowei's doing, but I didn't want to follow her script. So I raised the 600 milliliters glass of wine in front of me, gestured to the whole room. The person I chose has left, according to the rules of the game. I choose to drink this entire glass to complete the punishment. After saying this, I tilted my head back, calmly drank the entire glass of wine. Xu Xiaowei hadn't expected that I would choose to drink rather than choose her. Her face immediately darkened. She stared intently at my gradually reddening face, gripped the dice so hard it made a crunching sound. With half the people missing, the game also lost its fun. The gathering thus disbanded. I stayed until the end, completely drunk. When everyone else had left, I submitted my withdrawal application to the club president. Holding the wall, I tried to go downstairs. Just as I reached the stairs, I hazily saw Du Ziteng standing nearby. I wanted to pretend not to see him and avoid him, but he grabbed my arm, his eyes full of anger. Just now when the lights came on, "What kind of look did you give me? Let me tell you, even if Xiaowei didn't kiss me, she has her reasons. It shows that she values me." Hearing this, I nearly laughed out loud. But I knew that no matter what I said now, Du Ziteng wouldn't listen. I nodded, "Yes, whatever you say is right." After saying this, I tried to push his hand away to leave, but Du Ziteng gripped even tighter, cursing while refusing to let go. The two of us struggled. I was already unsteady on my feet, just wanted to get away quickly. Pulled strongly, I lost my balance, fell backward, tumbled down the high staircase. Du Ziteng was startled, lost his footing, also rolled down the stairs. Hearing the noise from upstairs, some students who hadn't gone far quickly returned to check the situation. Seeing both of us were not lightly injured, everyone immediately panicked. Eventually, Xu Xiaowei called someone, took both of us to her family's hospital. After examination, the doctor said it was a bone fracture. If not treated promptly, there was a risk of disability. From the moment she discovered both of us were injured, her eyes never left me, looking at my pale face, and the sweat continuously rolling down my forehead. She seemed to feel my pain. Her heart tightened as well. The operating room was ready, but the hospital only had one specialist who could perform this surgery. Xu Xiaowei had to decide the priority order. She unconsciously looked toward me. Just as she met my gaze, those eyes no longer held the lingering affection or warmth of before. Only a calmness like still water remained. This gaze made Xu Xiaowei's heart tremble. "Miss, please decide quickly. Who will be operated on first?" I lay on the stretcher, face pale, just before losing consciousness. I heard Xu Xiaowei speak decisively. "Du Ziteng, save Du Ziteng first." The doctor quickly pushed Du Ziteng into the operating room the moment the door closed. I also completely lost consciousness. When I woke up, it was a day later. I opened my eyes. My first action was to touch my leg, feeling that my leg was still there and had sensation. Only then did I breathe a sigh of relief, my eyes welling with tears at escaping disaster. Fortunately, I wasn't disabled. My parents received the news and rushed over, transferred me to a VIP room on the highest floor, taking meticulous care of me. 2 hours later, Du Ziteng was transferred to the room opposite. Xu Xiaowei personally helped him in, for convenience and monitoring. The doors of both rooms were kept open. I could clearly see the situation in the room across. Du Ziteng continuously complained of pain. Xu Xiaowei found all sorts of topics to distract him. The hospital food didn't suit his taste. She personally went home to cook many light dishes. He was bored lying in the hospital room. She brought all kinds of novelties to entertain him. In the more than 10 days of hospitalization, the two were so intimate that even the nurses gossiped, whispering, "Could the hospital director be about to have his son-in-law?" I silently listened, didn't interject, but I knew clearly everything Zhu Xiaowei did was just an act for me to see, because the door to my room closed hundreds of times, but each time it barely closed. A nurse would come to check. The opening rate was 100%. It couldn't possibly be a coincidence. On discharge day, I met both of them again in the basement parking lot. As soon as they saw me approach, Xu Xiaowei immediately helped Du Ziteng from the Xu Zeta came from the Tam wheelchair into the car. Through the window, Du Ziteng stuck half his head out, flashed a fake smile at me. "Lu Haoyu, I heard you live opposite Xiaowei. Let us give you a ride, shall we?" I didn't want to pay attention to him, didn't look up, got straight into my own car. The car drove to the building. I declined my parents' help, used crutches to go home alone. The elevator went from floor -1 to floor 1. Xu Xiaowei had originally planned to take Du Ziteng home, unexpectedly stepped in. The two of us exchanged a glance, neither said anything. The elevator stopped at floor 17. Xu Xiaowei stood at the door, hesitating to exit. The atmosphere in the elevator suddenly became heavy. I had to use my crutches to take a few steps out first. I moved slowly, but the person behind moved even slower. I could feel her eyes fixed on me. At the door, I was about to enter the passcode. The crutch in my hand suddenly fell to the ground. I could only lean against the wall slowly. "Sit down." Just as I touched the crutch, my vision was suddenly darkened by a figure. Xu Zhiwei also sat down, perhaps intending to help me pick it up, but when she met my gaze, she withdrew her hand, pretended to tie her shoelace. I sneered once, picked up my crutch, slowly stood up, after resting at home for a long time. Soon it was final exam period. Although I was about to go abroad, my leg had temporarily recovered enough to walk, so I didn't request to postpone the exam, took it as usual. The lecture hall with its many stairs. With my leg not fully healed, I sat in the front row in the middle. Soon, Xu Ziwei helped Du Ziteng in. As soon as he saw me, Du Ziteng immediately acted aggrieved. "My leg hurts. I need to sit in the front row." Xu Zhaowei then helped him sit next to me, then sat herself in a seat near the scrat wall. The exam quickly began. Du Ziteng chose the exact moment when the teacher walked down to the last step, threw a pre-prepared paper ball onto my desk across an aisle. My hand holding the pen froze. Before I could understand what was happening, the teacher turned back and shouted. Before the exam, I emphasized many times, poor performance is fine, but character must not be compromised. No cheating. Yet you deliberately violated this. Lu Haoyu, your exam is void. Only then did I understand Du Ziteng's intention, but I didn't want to suffer this injustice. Immediately stood up to protest. Check the camera. Unfortunately, due to a power outage in the building that morning, the classroom cameras hadn't been activated yet. Seeing Du Ziteng's expression change from surprise to joy, I really couldn't swallow this anger. Xu Zhaowei was sitting right next to Du Ziteng. She saw everything. The teacher, not wanting to wrongly accuse anyone, immediately invited Xu Zhaowei up. The teaching building was invested in by the Xu family. Xu Zhaowei didn't need to curry favor with anyone, and was cold and straightforward, so her words always carry weight with teachers. After hearing the whole story, Xu Zhaowei looked up at me, then calmly said, "The cheater was not Du Ziteng." As soon as these words were spoken, they almost immediately accused me. Teacher Wang believed her right away. He looked at me. "Lu Haoyu, do you have anything to say in your defense? Not admitting to cheating, even falsely accusing a classmate. You're truly obstinate. Were your previous scores also obtained by cheating? Regardless, this time I must report to the school. Issue a criticism notice to the entire school." I stood in place, feeling as if I had fallen into an ice pit. I thought that before such a major issue of right and a major issue of right and major issue of right and a major issue of right and a major issue of right and major issue of right and major issue, Xu Ziaowei would uphold principles. That's why I mentioned her, but I never expected she would give false testimony for Du Ziteng when she had seen everything. Now further explanation was useless. I could only swallow my tears, look deeply at Xu Zhaowei. Without saying a word, I left, seeing my reddened eyes. Xu Zhiwei suddenly panicked. She unconsciously chased after me, blocked my path. "Lu Haoyu, I know this is Ziteng's fault, but he has a thin face. I don't want him to be gossiped about by others." Not a word of apology, only concerned with explaining for Du Ziteng. I began to doubt whether the photo I saw that day was just a dream. I looked at her with a sneer, my voice trembling with anger. "So this is why you helped him falsely accuse me. I don't want to hear any more." I brushed past her, walked quickly out of the classroom. If he can't handle gossip, can I? Xu Ziaowei, do you think I confessed to you 99 times, with skin as thick as a city wall? So strong that I don't fear any mockery? Looking at my demeanor, Xu Jiaowei's left eyelid twitched. She hurriedly pulled my hand. "I didn't mean that. It's just one exam. Scores can still be made up. In the future, I will find a way to compensate for your grievance today." Compensate? You don't like me. So how can you compensate? My sarcastic tone made Xu Xiaowei panic. She almost blurted out her true feelings. "Who says I don't like you?" Just as she opened her mouth, she realized her slip, quickly interrupted herself. "Trust me, at the 100th confession, I will compensate you," Xu Ziaowei was practically saying directly. that she would agree to be with me. Before, she never revealed so many vulnerabilities. Now it was only because of momentary panic. But I had long gone cold, pushed her hand away, then just tear off the calendar. Wait until the last day. Seeing me withdraw my hand, Xu Ziawei was stunned. Her voice finally softened. All right, 3 more days. I will definitely give you a satisfactory answer. 3 days before leaving. And the apartment I had listed for sale for over half a month had sold. The real estate agent brought the contract. I quickly signed. I would move out in 2 days. These days, I would clean up all my belongings, so the new owner could move in. The agent noted the date. I escorted her to the elevator. Just as the door opened, Xu Ziaowei stepped out carrying 2 bags. After the agent went down, I was about to turn and leave. Xu Ziaowei suddenly called me back, handed me one of the bags. I happened to pass by. Bought too much. Can't eat it all. Would you like to try some? I glanced at it, saw it was the dried fruit I liked most. That shop was on the west side of the city. A round trip took more than 3 hours, plus a 2-hour wait in line to buy, deliberately buying what I liked, then finding an excuse to bring it over. She just wanted to apologize for yesterday, but I no longer needed her apology. I said nothing, took it, went home and casually threw it away. The bag of dried fruit drew a parabola in the air, landed precisely in the trash can. 2 days before leaving, I went to the print shop, spent a few thousand yuan to print 10,000 small palm-sized cards. I returned to the dormitory, asked a few roommates, on the third, to climb to the top floor of the comprehensive building, scatter these cards over the square. My roommates knew about recent events. Hearing I hadn't given up, they tried to dissuade me. How you? Just let it go. After how Xu Xiaowei treated you, why torture yourself? That's right, she's really too much. Hurting you like that. Although I had already let go, hearing friends care about me, a warmth still rose in my heart. I shook my head. Don't worry, I know my limits. You just need to help me scatter them. I've hired a cleaning company to clean up afterwards. Actually, I don't plan to confess. What I want is to say goodbye. Hearing this, my roommates were all stunned, and they looked at each other. I thanked them, then turned and left, watching my back gradually disappear. A roommate opened the box, took out a card. On it was just one sentence. Lu Haoyu will never like Zhu Xiaowei again. The day before leaving, after completing the procedures at school, I went home to start packing. I had only moved here half a year ago. There weren't many belongings, but most were related to Xu Ziaowei. I found a few boxes, threw all those things in. The scarf I spent half a month knitting for Zhu Shuiyi. I cut it into a pile of yarn scraps. The porcelain vase she gave at the charity event. I spent effort bidding to get it back, now smashed it to pieces. The love letters I wrote through the night for her. I put them all in the paper shredder. When the boxes were thrown in the garbage, everything related to me and Zhu Ziaowei also ended. The house only had 2 sets of clothes left. The white shirt I wore when I first met her, and the loose black pants. I lit a match, burned them. Soon only ashes remained. I stood up. Just as I turned, I saw Xu Xiaowei standing nearby. She looked at me with shock. I am just cleaning up unnecessary trash, I said indifferently, then turned and went upstairs. That morning at dawn, I was awakened by noise from across the hall, drowsily opened my eyes, took my phone to check the time, saw notifications constantly popping up. It took me a moment to realize. All the messages were from a group of over 20 people. A year ago, to understand Xu Xiaowei's preferences, I secretly joined this group, always forgot to leave it. Xu Xiaowei didn't know I was in there. Early in the morning, the group was already buzzing about Zhu Zhuwei's roommates. Xiaowei is up so early, so excited she didn't sleep all night. Isn't it obvious? She's been preparing since 11 p.m. last night. Are you really going to accept Lu Haoyu's confession this time? Reading this, my hand froze. It was rare to see Xu Xiaowei send a long message. It's not about accepting. He and I were already in sync with each other. Being together is natural. Don't ask these pointless questions. Help me choose which outfit looks better today. This one or that one. Looking at the dozens of outfits she sent, the group immediately buzzed with excitement. Oh my god, my girl, going all out like this. Are you still our cold, unapproachable campus beauty? Xiaowei, it's the first time I've seen you this excited. Do you like Lu Haoyu that much? Amidst the exclamations, Xu Xiaowei only replied with one sentence. I like him a lot. In this life, if not him, then no one. Looking at these words, I couldn't help but laugh, leaned against the headboard. Watched the sky outside the window gradually brighten. So many memories flashed through my mind. Looking back at this I only saw a humor and absurdity like an O. Henry ending. Likes me, so she rejected my 99 confessions. Let me become a laughingstock in everyone's eyes. Likes me, so she ignored me. Deliberately acted intimate with another man to stimulate me. Likes me, so she reversed black and white. Falsely accused me, trampled on my heart. If this is her I really can't bear it, nor dare to accept it. The messages in the group came faster and faster. Some girls at school sent a few photos of the scene. It was just after 7 a.m. The square was already packed with people. Inside the school, outside the school, teachers and students were all there. There were even people selling bottled water, popcorn, grilled sausages on the side. Crowds gathered to watch my 100th confession. Xiaowei, hurry up and come. Otherwise, when the confession starts, your female lead won't be able to squeeze through. Curiosity is indeed human nature. I was about to leave the group when I saw a message Zshuia had just sent me. I'm about to leave now. You should get ready to leave too. I am just preparing to leave. I suddenly really want to see Xucua at the school grounds watching the cards fall. What expression will she have? When she learns I am going abroad, how will she feel? Unfortunately, I won't be able to see it. From now on, everything about Xucua has nothing to do with me. I got up leisurely, changed into a set of clothes. After breakfast, I began to arrange my final luggage. Packing completed, the whole apartment empty. I looked back at the empty room, then took out my phone, blocked all contact numbers and accounts of Zhu Jiawei. After finishing everything, I felt lighter than ever before, pulled my suitcase, turned and left, beginning a new brilliant life. At this time, it was 5 minutes before 9 o'clock. The square was packed with people, crowded with no way through. Security had also arrived, maintaining order at the scene, looking at the bustling scene like a sea of people below. My roommates all stared wide-eyed, their voices tinged with excitement. So many people. Surely later this matter will quickly spread throughout the school, right? That's best. Otherwise, after Hao Yu leaves, he'll still be gossiped about behind his back. They chatted animatedly. Soon it was 8:59. Tong Ji, the club president. I received my message that I had safely arrived at the airport. Immediately rolled up his sleeves and shouted, Hao Yu has arrived. Let's get to work. Those throwing items, those taking photos, get ready. We must make sure he sees this scene before boarding the plane. As soon as the words ended, the 9 o'clock bell rang. 2 male students took positions on the left and right, pushed the stacks of cards placed on the windowsill. Outward. At once, the white cards from the 16th floor fluttered like snowflakes, swirling as they fell. On the square below, someone with poor eyesight shouted, It's snowing. Everyone looked up together. As the cards were about to touch the ground, people in the square stood on tiptoes competing to pick them up, wanting to see what was written. In the central position of the square, Xu Zhaowei also looked up expectantly. Her girlfriend saw the magnificent scene, exclaiming in admiration, Scattered so many. Must be tens of thousands, right? Lu Haoyu really poured his heart out. Don't you see Xiaowei's popularity? Without doing something this grand, how could he declare his claim and scare off rivals? That's right, but what's written on the paper? Looking at Lu Haoyu's previous love letters, his writing style was very good. Could it be 10,000 handwritten love letters? Don't tell me, with Lu Haoyu's patience and persistence, it might actually be true. Let me pick one up. Take a look. Hearing the admiring tone of her friends, Xu Zhaowei's heart was also filled with expectation. She reached out to pick up a card, smiled as she turned it over. When she saw the words on it, the smile on her face froze. Her friends beside her were about to tease her, but glimpsing the words on the card, they all widened, their eyes, stuttering, This can't be. It must be. To a mistake. It must be a mistake. While consoling her, they picked up several more cards from the ground to give to Xu Zhaowei, but the newly picked cards had identical printed words. Lu Haoyu will never like Xu Xiaowei again. At this moment, everyone completely panicked, hurriedly snatched a few cards from the hands of onlookers around. But when they saw the content, the horror in their hearts deepened. How could this be? Wasn't it supposed to be a confession? What's written here? Is someone deliberately sabotaging? The crowd buzzed with discussion, while some were still making excuses. The surrounding crowd had gotten cards, shouting loudly, Oh, Lu Haoyu will never like Xu Xiaowei again. So it's not a confession? Heavens, tricking us all to come here. Just to clarify this? Spending so much effort on promotion. Now the whole school knows. Great. No more Lu Haoyu. No one clinging and becoming a laughingstock anymore. Xu Zhuai's face, amid the rising waves of mockery, gradually lost all color. She felt something blocking her chest. Couldn't breathe. Her brain lacked oxygen. Only a blank whiteness remained. One hand gripped the stack of cards tightly, her knuckles white from the force. Her chest heaved violently, looking up at the rooftop, still scattering cards, her eyes full of shock and fear. Thousands of people in the square stood on tiptoes, wanting to see her reaction. She didn't disappoint them, throwing everything in her hands, quickly walked into the comprehensive building. The curious crowd hurriedly followed. After throwing down the last stack of cards, they prepared to clean up. Just as they reached the door, they heard a rumbling sound from downstairs. The elevator wouldn't come up. They had to go down using the stairs. Just as they reached the 15th floor, they met Shui. She led several friends running up. As soon as she saw them, she immediately blocked the way. A few seconds later, the crowd following her also rushed up, faced with several girls with aggressive demeanor. They weren't afraid at all. Oh, isn't this our school's beauty? Didn't you say you had no interest in Haoyu? Why are you now joining this boring spectacle? Hearing the sarcastic tone, Xu Zhaowei's hands clenched into fists. Her face immediately darkened. You scattered these things on your own. Hearing the words on your own. My roommates laughed. We wouldn't dare. This is what Haoyu spent money to print, painstakingly brought to school. We at most were just the final transporters. Hearing this was my doing. Students downstairs whispered, Doesn't Xu Xiaowei dislike Lu Haoyu? Why now that he's given up, she can't accept it? You don't understand. In novels, this is called the noble flower on the pedestal, being pulled down from the divine altar. Now, it's the scene of chasing after a husband with regret. I say, if she regrets now, she deserves to lose face. What did she do before? These speculations fell into Xu Zhaowei's heart, like sharp knives, piercing through her years of confidence, for the past 2 years. She thought she understood me like the palm of her hand, easily grasping my thoughts and actions. The reality was also as she wished. Each confession ended smoothly. She thought everything would conclude with the 100th time. Between her and me, there would be a perfect ending. But just when she was most confident, I used a way that announced to the whole world, dealt her a fatal blow. She could no longer, as before, pretend to be cold, indifferent, gentle, but completely revealed her true nature. She gripped the stair railing tightly, her voice urgent mixed with panic. "Where is he?" Tongji looked at her expression, smiled with satisfaction, raised his hand making a bird-flapping motion. After the confession, of course, he flew away. Shu Ziwei instinctively thought he was deceiving her. When she heard the last two words, her heart seemed to stop beating for a few seconds. "What do you mean, flew away?" She suddenly had an ominous premonition, pushed aside the male students blocking her way, rushed to the rooftop. The rooftop was empty, not a soul in sight, but the corridors and elevators were packed with people. Lu Haoyu couldn't possibly have come down. Didn't he come to school today? Realizing this, memories in Xu Xiaowei's mind quickly rewound. She arrived at school at 8:30, left home at 8 o'clock, finished choosing clothes at 8:30. From this moment recalling to last night, the last time she saw Lu Haoyu downstairs, she finally discovered the problem. Lu Haoyu had planned everything. Logically, he should have gone out early to prepare, but since last night, the house opposite hadn't made any noise. Either he left after she did, or he never intended to come to school. He spent so much effort to get revenge on her, not coming to witness it himself. Why was that? Su Ziawei couldn't understand. She clutched her violently beating chest, suddenly feeling something in her body rapidly flowing away. She was panicked, insecure, and helpless. The Xu family used all their power, finally dispersed the crowd at the comprehensive building. Xu Jiaowei, surrounded by her girlfriends, went downstairs. At a glance, she saw 7 or 8 janitors, sweeping up the cards on the ground. She dazedly bent down, picked up a card covered in footprints, looking at the words on it. Her heart carried a different emotion. The initial anger and shock had transformed into boundless fear and terror, the feeling that everything had spiraled out of control, racing toward a direction she couldn't predict. That fear and anxiety about the unknown future. Her girlfriends, seeing this expression on her face for the first time, scratched their heads trying to find ways to comfort her. "It's okay, Xiaowei. Lu Haoyu did this. He must still be angry about the reporting incident. Go home and explain everything to him. Say all the words in your heart. He likes you so much. He will certainly forgive you. That's right, he pursued you for 2 years. 99 confessions. This time, he's probably just upset. Just coax him a bit and it'll be fine." Although everyone tried to comfort her positively, instinct told Xu Xiaowei this time was completely different from before. She couldn't suppress her feeling of panic and didn't want to hear them chattering in her ear. Her mind in chaos, she drove straight back to the apartment, wanting to find me and get clarity. At 9:30, she parked and just arrived at the community entrance. Saw sanitation workers clearing the trash bins. She suddenly remembered. Yesterday, seeing me sitting on the ground burning something. At that time, she sensed something was wrong, but didn't ask the reason. Now wanting to see what I had burned. The sanitation workers had already replaced the trash bins. The garbage truck had gone far away. Shu Xiaowei had only the card and went upstairs. Just as the elevator door opened, it was blocked by several luggage boxes. A young man, besides seeing she couldn't get out, quickly apologized. Going up to move the luggage, she guessed, this must be the new neighbor moving in. Remembering my leg wasn't fully healed, she intended to remind me to be careful in the name of a neighbor, to find me and talk. But just as she reached her own door, she saw the door opposite slightly ajar. She raised her hand to knock. Inside was very quiet, no signs of a person. The unusual silence made Xu Jiaowei unconsciously frown, about to push the door to look. Suddenly, a male voice sounded from behind. "Are you the neighbor from across?" "Hello. I live in Unit 1705. Just moved in. Hope for your guidance." Hearing this number, Xu Jiaowei unconsciously looked at the unit number plate. The next second, she turned to stone. The young man pushing the suitcase approached, still enthusiastically introducing himself. Su Jiaowei didn't hear a single word. She turned around in a daze, eyes staring at him, pointing to the number plate 1705. "New owner. Where's the previous owner?" The young man wiped sweat from his face, eyes full of joy. "The agent said he moved out this morning. Do you know him? Can I have his contact information?" He seemed to be in a hurry. This apartment was sold at a very low price. I was lucky to buy it. I also want to thank him. A few short sentences made Xu Xiaowei's mind seem to stop working. She stood stunned for a long time, then suddenly reacted, turned and pushed open the slightly ajar door. The room was empty. Apart from basic furniture, personal belongings were as clean as a new house. The young man didn't notice, her face gradually turning ashen, still smiling brightly. "It's clean, right? I heard from the agent. That guy spent 3 days cleaning, because he couldn't take everything with him. He threw away a lot of things." Xu Ziwei didn't know how she got home. When she came to her senses, she found herself collapsed in the hallway, her legs numb. She felt as if she had just been pulled from water, her body soaking wet, clothes stuck to her body with sweat, freezing cold, making her unconsciously tremble. She took out her phone, looked for my number in the app, with trembling hands typed a few words. "Why did you move away?" Just as she pressed send, The screen showed a red dot, along with the words "not friends." Seeing the red dot in her eyes, her gaze froze for a few seconds. Then, as if not believing, she sent a few more messages, received more notifications. Looking at the phone screen, she felt choked, couldn't breathe. Her face quickly turned red when she was almost suffocating. The phone rang. In her ear came the panicked cry of her roommate. "Xiaowei, it's bad news. Lu Haoyu went to Italy. Just now, Cao Tao and I were at the bulletin board. Saw his name in the list of exchange students." This sentence was like a thunderbolt, creating huge waves in Xu Zhui's heart. She wanted to hold onto the cabinet and stand up, but her numb legs wouldn't obey. She fell to the ground. Her forehead hit the corner of the wall, creating a bloody wound. Blood flowed steadily. The phone beside rang with noisy voices. "What's wrong with you? We're coming right away." But Xu Ziaowei no longer had the strength to understand what they were saying. She raised her hand to hold the wound, only feeling pain from the nerves. Unbearable. She curled up, her throat emitting a deep, painful sound. Her vision darkened before completely fainting. Her last consciousness was the sentence she had seen countless times today, deeply imprinted in her heart. "How you will never like Zhu Ziaowei again." Xu Ziaowei was severely injured, although fortunately, she kept her life. She still had to enter intensive care. When she woke up, it was 3 days later. Several girlfriends sat by her hospital bed, breathing sighs of relief, then chattering, recounting what had happened during the days she was unconscious. According to the news they gathered, Lu Haoyu had gone to Italy 3 days ago, but had not yet completed the enrollment procedures. It was said that after the list was published, someone went to the school to report him, saying he had cheated in a recent exam, so his study abroad qualification should be revoked. If his qualification is revoked, then there's an 80% chance he'll return. "Xiaowei, don't worry, he won't escape." Xu Xiaowei's heart beat violently. Her eyes suddenly widened. He went to Italy. Exam cheating. Qualification revoked, coming back. Before she could digest this enormous amount of information, she heard a knock at the door. One girlfriend ran to open it. The other 3 saw the renowned Professor Tong from the school, entered with a grim face. He glanced at the person on the hospital bed, his imposing manner making people unable to look directly at him. "You are Zhu Ziaowei. I heard about the cheating case of Hao Yu and Du Ziteng. You were the witness. I want to talk to you." Hearing this, her girlfriends didn't dare to stay. Hurriedly left the hospital room, watching the door slowly close. Xu Ziaowei slightly raised her chin. "Yes, it was me." Receiving this confirmation, Professor Tong's face immediately flared with anger, his voice deliberately emphasizing, "How you told me. You gave false testimony. Such a major issue. How dare you lie? Do you know what doing this will do to his future? Because of being labeled a cheater, his study abroad qualification will be revoked. The Institute to Reduce Public Opinion is discussing expelling him once the document is issued." Added to the previous internet controversy, because of you, his entire life will be ruined in your hands. He liked you, but ask yourself, over the past 2 years, has he ever wronged you? Do you hate him so much? Must you push him to a dead end? If you have any conscience left, quickly go to school and clarify the truth. Otherwise, not just him, but me and the entire Design Institute will be destroyed because of one lie from you. Hearing these words, Xu Ziaowei only felt her head buzzing. Her heart immediately panicked. At that time, she was just angry when I didn't choose her at the club gathering and was upset with her, wanting to force me to apologize, so she deceived Teacher Wang. She never thought it would cause such a large chain reaction, and certainly couldn't imagine, if things went in the direction Professor Tong said, what the final result would be. If she truly ruined Lu Haoyu's future with his character, he would probably hate her to death. A lover turned enemy was something Zhu Xiaowei would rather die than accept. She disregarded the wound on her forehead, tried to stand up, wanting to go to school with Professor Tong. Just as the two went outside, they were stopped by nurses. The doctors didn't dare let her go, continuously advising against it, but she wouldn't listen to a word, insisting on returning to school. Professor Tong had contacted the person in charge of discipline beforehand. Xu Xiaowei, in front of the dean of the Design Institute and Teacher Wang, pointed out that Du Ziteng was the one who cheated. Du Ziteng hadn't expected her to suddenly betray him, immediately panicked, crying, "It wasn't me." Teacher Wang also hadn't expected her to retract her testimony. For a moment, didn't know whether to believe or not. Xu Xiaowei's face cold, glanced at the panicking Du Ziteng, opened her phone, showed a photo. "This is a letter Du Ziteng once wrote to me by hand. Soon my family will bring the original. You can compare the handwriting on the letter and the paper." Hearing this, Du Ziteng's face immediately contorted, unbearably ugly, staggering a few steps, under the stern gaze of the leaders, trembling, crying until his voice was hoarse. "Xiaowei, it's me, Ziteng. Have you forgotten we grew up together? This matter is already over. Why are you lying?" Xu Xiaowei saw clear evidence, yet he still tried to deny it. Her eyes flashed with disgust. "I never liked you. Before it was just an act. Now I don't want to act anymore. Of course I won't cover for you. You did it. You must take responsibility." As soon as the words ended, the Xu family brought the original document. After careful comparison, the handwriting on the paper was indeed Du Ziteng's. The disciplinary office immediately convened, decided to announce to the entire school, clarify the truth. Due to the negative impact, Du Ziteng was expelled and recorded in his file. When everything was over, the sky had darkened. Xiu Zhaowei leaned against the wall as she walked out, called Professor Tong back. Professor Tong, how you? Does he know about what happened here? Although the matter had been resolved, Professor Tong was still angry, still looking at her with displeasure. Almost got expelled. How could he not know? Where's your brain? After a string of scolding, Xu Zhuai felt even worse, but she still wanted to explain. Now that everything is resolved, will he come back? Professor Tong glanced at her, his voice full of pride. This qualification only one person in the entire institute has. How you earned it with his own ability. Studying well in Italy for 3 years, a bright future ahead. Why would he come back? Moreover, with people like you at school, he avoids suffering by not returning. If I had known earlier, he was foolishly infatuated with someone like you. I should have advised him at the beginning to choose a girlfriend. Must be more discerning. When receiving Professor Tong's call, I was sunbathing by the beach. I don't know how the professor managed to make Xu Zhaowei tell the truth, nor do I want to find out. I just sincerely expressed my gratitude to him. Professor Tong gave a few instructions, then hurried to a meeting. I breathed in the sea breeze, took a sip of juice beside me, leisurely reclined on the beach chair. 3 days before arriving in Italy, I planned to complete the enrollment procedures immediately, but the school, called to verify, suddenly announced my qualification had issues, temporarily couldn't proceed. I asked my roommates, only then learned someone had secretly reported me. So I found Professor Tong, explained the situation, asked for his help. Although Professor Tong was renowned at school, he also knew this would be difficult to prove innocence, and prepared mentally to face the storm. How should I put it? Since meeting Xu Zhaowei, my ability to handle pressure has notably increased. Now facing possible expulsion, I was also calm, unbothered, even in the mood to buy an overnight flight ticket for a short vacation at Lover's Beach. Now everything was resolved. I was completely relaxed, thinking about when to return to complete the procedures. I was checking flight tickets when my roommates group suddenly lit up with messages. How you? Just now, Xu Zhaowei came to the dorm looking for us. Said she wanted your contact information. She said she wanted to apologize. We're assured. Didn't reveal a single number. You don't know. She looks haggard. Now, her head still wrapped in bandages. I heard a few days ago she was in intensive care. That's karma. She deserves it. Looking at the vivid mocking words, in my mind appeared the image of Xu Zhaowei asking for my new number, being rejected. I smirked, hummed a tune, sent a large red envelope to the group. Thank you all for your help these past days. Everything has been resolved smoothly. After 3 years pass, when I return, I'll treat everyone to a meal, directly express my gratitude. My roommates knew I was always generous. Without hesitation, accepted all the red envelopes. Looking at the emoticons filling the screen, I was also very happy, meeting such good roommates and teachers. After booking the earliest flight back to Milan, I stretched and stood up, walking on the soft sand back to the hotel, my mood extremely relaxed. This time, the procedures went very smoothly, without encountering any problems. Looking at the stamped stack of documents and the newly received student ID, I showed a look of satisfaction. Arriving at the newly purchased apartment, looking at the stairs in front, trying to lift the heavy suitcase, sighing once, wondering whether to hire someone to help. Suddenly, a beautiful girl appeared beside me. I looked up, saw a beauty with delicate features. Using English to ask if I needed help, I quickly nodded. The beautiful girl and I carried the suitcase up the stairs, chatting as we went, reaching the apartment door. Just as we finished introducing ourselves, I bowed to thank her. She raised her reddened hand, jokingly teased, I helped you. A simple thank you might not be enough, if convenient. May I have your business card? Hearing this request, I was stunned for a moment, but quickly reacted. Searched in my pocket, couldn't find a business card anywhere. I had to apologize. The beautiful girl said it was fine. From somewhere, produced a pen, held out her hand in front of me. Phone number. Write it on my hand. I hesitated for a few seconds, still accepted the pen. On her jade-like slender hand, wrote a series of numbers. After moving into the new apartment, I was busy for several days, finally finished arranging the house. That evening, I received a message. All exchange students had completed registration. Today, there would be a welcome ceremony in the auditorium. Going out the next morning, I got lost again. These days, whenever I had free time, I explored the campus. But the school was too large, the architectural styles too similar, so I was still lost. Seeing it was almost time, about to ask someone, my phone suddenly rang. It was an unknown number. Thinking for a few seconds, I still answered. In my ear came a familiar voice, but I couldn't remember whose it was. While puzzling over this, my shoulder was suddenly patted from behind. Turning my head, I saw the beautiful girl from before. Helen smiled at me in greeting. The phone still held to my ear. I realized it was her number, my face showing surprise. Helen asked what I was dazed about. I honestly told her my difficulty. Hearing about the auditorium, she said she was going there too, could show me the way. I didn't doubt her. The two of us went through the maze of the school, walking and laughing together. After winding around for more than 10 minutes, Helen pointed to the building ahead, saying, "Wed arrived." I checked my phone. It indeed matched the photo sent by schoolmates. Hurriedly waved thanks to Helen. The welcome ceremony lasted 2 hours. When leaving the auditorium, my back was exhausted, wondering where to have lunch. Suddenly, someone appeared before me. Helen smiled in greeting, asked about my lunch plans. I was worried about this very thing. She noticed my confusion, smiled and recommended a restaurant. inviting me to go together. Decision made. I followed her out of the school, arriving at the restaurant entrance. Only then saw it was a Chinese restaurant. My eyes flashed with doubt. You want to take me for Chinese food? Are you used to it? I heard you all aren't accustomed to the food here. I want today to be a pleasant dining experience. Also want to try Chinese cuisine. So I chose this restaurant. I didn't expect her to be so thoughtful, not wanting to disappoint her kindness. Smiled back. Then let's go with this place. I am like half a host here. Let me take care of this meal. I hope you have a good first experience with Chinese food. The two of us chatted as we entered the restaurant, found a place to sit. I took the menu, saw Helen was very interested in the dishes, introduced each one to her, then ordered several dishes. Thanks to her lively yet polite personality, the meal was very enjoyable. We talked about East-West cultural differences and shared recent interesting stories from school, quickly becoming familiar. After lunch, Helen even took me back to my apartment. When saying goodbye, she showed reluctance to part, invited me for afternoon tea over the weekend. The weekend weather was unusually beautiful. I happily went to meet her, chatted with Helen in a garden cafe. Near the lake, a flock of white doves flew over. A feather fell onto my hair. Helen saw it, laughed, and stood up, wanting to remove it from me. The two of us stood very close, from a distance looking very intimate. I smiled and looked up. Thank you. As I spoke, I glanced to the left. My gaze immediately froze. The woman standing at the door, forehead wrapped in bandages, face haggard. Why does she look so much like Xu Xiaowei? Before I could look closer, the woman had already stormed over. She lowered her bloodshot eyes, looking down at the attractive dessert table, her eyes darting between us, angrily questioning. Hearing the familiar voice, I confirmed it was Xu Xiaowei. Although I didn't know how she found out I was here, I wasn't surprised by her appearance. I knew one day she would chase me to Italy, because in Xu Xiaowei's eyes, I was easy prey. She certainly wouldn't let me escape her grasp. I had prepared for this reunion day, so before this aggressive attitude, I was extremely calm. New friend, is there a problem? What friend? Girlfriend? The last few words. Xu Xiaowei nearly gritted through her teeth. She didn't expect that with her serious injury, flying thousands of miles here, wanting to explain clearly to me, she would catch me dating someone else. Just a few days abroad and already found someone new. Didn't you like me for 2 years? Rejected 99 times yet never gave up? Didn't you say the 100th time we would be together? Why did you break your word? Break your promise? Realizing this, the anger in Xu Xiaowei's heart flared even more, her voice full of heartache. Have you forgotten me? I didn't give her a chance to bring up the past. Directly interrupted her. Pursuing you was nothing to be proud of. I stood up, coldly looked at her, preparing to leave the cafe. So what if I've forgotten? Shouldn't I forget? Besides this face, what's remarkable about you? I am not interested anymore. Want to change tastes? Do I need your permission? These few sentences left Xu Xiaowei speechless. She looked at me in disbelief, eyes full of doubt. How you? What have you been through these days? Clearly, we said, I've been living very well these days. Eating well, drinking well, sleeping well. Thanks to your blessing. Even had time to travel. It's just your sudden appearance. Makes me a bit unhappy. If you understand my meaning, please leave this cafe. Honestly, you're disturbing my meal with this beautiful lady. When saying these words, my voice was gentle, face full of nonchalance. Cold attitude, dismissing a guest, making Xu Xiaowei's already poor complexion even more pale. She just realized everything had truly slipped beyond her reach. Her emotions grew more intense. She grabbed my hand tightly, hastily explaining, before I was wrong. I shouldn't have taken advantage of your sincere feelings. I am sorry how you. Please forgive me. Give me one more chance, can you? In my eyes, this apology lacked sincerity. I was publicly rejected 99 times. How could one apology from her erase everything? It was absurd. Daydreaming, looking at her slightly trembling hand, I raised an eyebrow, voice full of mockery. I can't stand the beauty queen's apology. Rest assured, from now on we're strangers. You don't need to worry, I'll cling to you. Seeing the determination in my eyes, Xu Xiaowei knew I wasn't joking. She panicked completely. Her hand unconsciously tightened, gripping until I frowned. Helen didn't understand our conversation. At first thought we were friends, just chatting. Seeing the situation wasn't good, my hand being held until red, she quickly stood up, wanting to help me escape. This action, to the panicking Xu Xiaowei, was a provocation. She didn't think, pushed Helen's hand away. Helen was pushed and staggered a few steps. Xu Xiaowei coldly looked at her, pulled me intending to leave. Helen braced against the wall to maintain balance, seeing me resist. Immediately rushed over, slapped Xu Xiaowei directly in the face. The two immediately started fighting. The peaceful garden corner became chaotic. Tables and chairs toppled. Scenery in ruins. Even the decorative flower pots were overturned. Many guests, fearing involvement, rushed out the door. The cafe owner upstairs immediately called the police. In the city center, the police arrived quickly, separated the two red-eyed women, took both to the station. The bandage on Xu Xiaowei's head was torn, revealing a frightening wound, making the police startled, instinctively thinking Helen was bullying a patient. Helen tried to explain. Xu Xiaowei, though injured, refused to yield, insisting Helen hit first. The two argued, making the police's eardrums about to burst. Still unclear who was right or wrong. Reluctantly, the police turned to the third party, the only witness at the scene. This friend, can you describe the situation at the scene? Hearing the question, Both turned back, both directing earnest gazes at me. Since the two started fighting, I had stepped aside to avoid being involved. During the fight, I didn't say a word to stop them. Looking at the two venting anger on each other, now unable to stand aside, I didn't hesitate, pointed at Xu Xiaowei. Without blinking, she pushed first. Hearing this, Xu Xiaowei stood stunned in place. I couldn't believe I specifically named her. She dazedly looked at me, voice trembling. I only pushed her a little. Clearly she hit first. How you? Why did you? The words stopped. A light flashed in Xu Xiaowei's mind. She immediately understood why I said this. I was taking revenge on her, wanting her to taste being falsely accused. Realizing this, she was speechless, only feeling her chest constricted, unable to breathe. The police didn't understand Chinese. Wanted me to translate. I directly disassociated from their relationship. Helen and I were eating. She burst in causing trouble, not caring about my wishes, wanting to pull me away, then push someone. So they started fighting. The final hope in Xu Xiaowei's heart completely vanished. She opened her mouth, voice hoarse, helpless. From now on, you will never stand by me again, right? I glanced at her, laughed coldly. I am an honest person. I only stand by the truth. Xu Xiaowei still couldn't accept it, asked again. If today she pushed me first, would you honestly tell the truth? Do you need to ask? Are we close? Helen is young, thin-skinned. I must protect her. With this sentence, not caring about her expression, I turned and left, with the testimony, plus the quickly retrieved camera footage. The truth quickly came to light. Xu Xiaowei, as a foreigner causing trouble, was detained. I waited for Helen to come out, thanked and apologized to her. She waved her hand, not minding the small wounds. Even said today's date was interrupted. Wanted to invite me to meet again next week. I considered carefully. Although Helen was very beautiful, but after today's incident, she seemed to lack rationality and maturity. I knew Xu Xiaowei wouldn't stop, didn't want to drag Helen into the mess, and certainly didn't want to go to the police station again. I guess she had feelings for me, but I was no longer impulsive, so in the end, I tactfully refused. Xu Xiaowei found many connections, only then was released on bail, alone wandering aimlessly on the streets, not knowing where to go, just thinking about recent events. She felt. Her entire heart seemed roasted over flames, pain beyond measure, regret like overwhelming waves, completely drowning her. She wanted to go back to the 99th confession, agree with me immediately, express her feelings. There wouldn't have been the subsequent turmoil. I wouldn't have abandoned her either. The two could be together. Cold wind and night rain shattered the illusion. Looking at the endless rain, she finally realized everything was beyond salvaging. Even so, she still didn't want to give up. She had secretly liked me for 2 years. Waited 2 years. Couldn't accept hope vanishing. She vowed to find every way to win back Lu Haoyu, just as I had once pursued her, not giving up despite difficulties, using 100 sincere methods to exchange for one forgiveness. Just one time. One time is enough. Half a month later, I didn't see Xu Xiaowei. Life returned to normal. Helen later asked me out again. I refused. The relationship between us gradually faded. I wasn't sad about this fleeting connection. Normal communication and studies. Days passed very fully. In a foreign land, I learned some cooking skills, so I quickly integrated with the exchange student group. When I had almost forgotten Xu Xiaowei, she suddenly appeared, bringing several cars of roses and balloons, blocking me at school. Seeing the curious gazes around, I was momentarily speechless. Xu Xiaowei didn't care about my expression. Seizing the opportunity, poured out all the words hidden in her heart. How you, if I also pursue you 100 times, will you give me another chance? If it were me a few months ago, I would certainly have been moved to tears, but me now. Not only wasn't moved, but got goosebumps. The cheesy plot, dialogue that made teeth fall out. Was I possessed back then? Publicly doing such confession. Thinking back on old things, I no longer felt sentimental, just couldn't look directly at it. If I had a chance to time travel, I would try to stop myself. Don't fall in love with Xu Xiaowei at first sight. Expose her true face. Wouldn't be foolish for so long, wasting more than 2 years. Hundreds of days on someone unworthy. What a pity. I was still regretting, not hearing what the person in front was saying, after waiting long for my response. Suwei's heart grew more panicked. She was restless and insecure, looking around, checking where she went wrong, but after checking, she couldn't find any fault, just anxiously looked at me. Just as she lowered her eyes, I had already avoided her gaze, turned and waved toward the distance, voice full of surprise. Hey, Su Tian, Ling Yu, where are you guys going? She looked in that direction. Only then saw I was greeting others. My attitude of treating her as invisible made Xu Xiaowei's heart cold. Her face immediately looked unpleasant, forcing out a few words through her teeth, wanting to pull back my attention. How you? I haven't finished. The girl named Su Tian stepped forward, voice familiar. We're planning to go camping. How you? Wanna come? The weather is clear. Weekend with no plans, with a big trouble in front. I had no reason to refuse. Happily agreed. I chatted animatedly with Su Tian. No one paid attention to Xu Xiaowei, who joined the camping team on her own. Watching the group gradually walk away, Su Xiaowei's face turned pale. She clenched her fists, looking at Su Tian with unwilling and jealous eyes. Su Xiaowei followed behind, together to the outskirts, separated by a river. She clearly saw everything on the other side. 7 or 8 exchange students gathered, grilling food, chatting, playing games. looking very lively. She couldn't join in, could only watch from afar, but the more she looked, the more her heart felt stifled. No matter what I did, the girl named Su Tian was always beside me. The distance between us never more than 10 steps, getting closer and closer, an intimacy different from others, making Zhu Xiaowei red-eyed and anxious, just hating that she couldn't pull me away right then. But she knew, if she did that, she would certainly anger me. She didn't want the relationship between us to become more tense, so she couldn't add fuel to the fire. She could only swallow it down, the complex emotions burning in her heart, telling herself to endure. One moment of endurance equals 6 hours. The sky gradually darkened. The other side lit a campfire, started a lively party. Perhaps because it was too noisy. I wasn't used to it, went to the riverside alone, wanting to enjoy the breeze. Xu Xiaowei seized the opportunity, came to my side, called me. How you? I have a few words I want to say to you. Today I was very happy, but seeing her still made me uncomfortable. Voice not very friendly. Sorry, I don't want to hear it. After saying this, I was about to leave. Xu Xiaowei panicked, held my hand tightly, eyes full of pleading. Just a few minutes. How you? There are words I've wanted to say for a long time. Hearing this, I finally looked at her, expression quite complex. What words? Could it be about 2 years ago, that you loved me from the first sight? In the end, my voice carried mockery. Xu Xiaowei was thunderstruck, stunned in place. She didn't expect, from my mouth, to hear the secret she thought she had hidden well. I didn't care about her mood. My mocking smile deepened. Xu Xiaowei, you consider it yourself. Those words, if spoken, not to mention me, anyone, even you yourself, would you believe it? Who loves secretly and hides it for 2 years without revealing? Who, because of pride, publicly rejects 99 confessions from the person they like? Who always pushes the person they like into opposition when facing difficulties? Is this love? I fear it's hatred to the bone. Hearing my mockery, Su Xiaowei only felt her ears buzzing, mind blank. She tried to deny, but couldn't utter any defense, only said a few weak sentences. That's not true. How you? I genuinely like you. Everyone around me knows. They can testify for me. If I didn't know, then who you like has nothing to do with me. From my perspective, the person you liked from beginning to end was Du Ziteng. Go find him and express your feelings. Say all that's in your heart. You two suit each other so well, from beginning to end. Only made me feel disgusted. The undisguised contempt on my face was the final straw for Su Xiaowei. Her body trembled non-stop, but still wouldn't let go, stubbornly wanting to keep me. I didn't have the patience to drag on, pulled my hand away forcefully. At the moment of separation, she felt like she had lost everything. Her heart ached sharply. The strength in her body disappeared. Staggering as if about to fall, I was accustomed to ignoring her. Walked quickly back to the crowd, not looking back once. I thought, after clarifying everything, Su Xiaowei would give up, but I quickly understood. Her mind couldn't hear others' words. Saying anything was useless. In the following months, whenever I went out, within 20 meters I would certainly see her figure. Every few days, she would appear with a bouquet or gifts, repeating apologies and confessions. But I didn't care, only focused on my studies and new life, ignoring all her efforts. She brought things she made herself, came before me, called it confessing. Once, twice. The third time, I couldn't remember the count. Before her stubborn actions, I was always indifferent. No reaction at all. If I could pretend not to see, it'd ignore. If not possible, it'd call security, using the reason of causing disturbance to drive her away. Back and forth several times. The whole school knew about Xu Xiaowei, also knew she clung without letting go, so wherever she went, she was pointed at. But she didn't care, only single-mindedly pursuing my back. She thought as long as she persisted, one day she would move me, but reality far exceeded her imagination. I was not only unmoved, but in front of her, accepted someone else's confession. I was handsome, had a good personality. As soon as I appeared, I attracted all gazes, so I never lacked pursuers. Before, to reassure her, I firmly rejected all girls, heart directed only at her. But now I didn't reject anyone, except her, any love letter sent. I would smile and accept, then thank each person. To provoke her, Xu Xiaowei could only watch, as I became increasingly close with the opposite gender, unable to do anything between us. From beginning to end, we were just normal classmates. She had no right to interfere in my social interactions. This point was when she got drunk and lost control, hit a girl who gave me flowers. I slapped her once, then spoke directly. Over time, the handprint on her face had faded, but those words were imprinted on her heart, engraved in her bones and mind. Unforgettable. Gradually, Xu Xiaowei got used to the scene of me being surrounded by everyone. She also had to admit, I was right. I would never be her possession. After many rejections, she gradually became numb. No matter what hurtful words I said, or what kind of look I gave her, she no longer felt heartbroken. She counted the times, from 1 to 50, from winter to spring, then to early summer. She thought days would pass peacefully, from 50 to 100, perhaps even the 101st time. Xu Xiaowei never thought of giving up. When she thought she had become accustomed to everything, a change occurred. I held a girl's hand appearing before her, laughing and saying to those nearby, "This is my girlfriend." At that moment, Xu Zhuwei felt the sky collapsing. She thought I was just pretending with other girls, to provoke her. Never thought I would agree with anyone. But when that day happened before her eyes, blood rushed to her head. She lost reason, rushed forward, wanting to get clarity. Before she could get close, she was stopped by patrol security, separated by a wall of people. She shouted with reddened eyes, "Why?" My eyes rested on her for a second. Voice indifferent. "I am young, have money, and lots of free time. Dating beautiful women. What hindrance is that to you?" Xuzue was devastated for a long time. She stayed alone in bars, getting completely drunk every night. No one knew. Every morning waking up, looking at the emptiness around, she fell into a painful emotion hard to suppress. Far from home. No relatives, lonely and helpless, like thorns piercing her heart, impossible to remove. Sometimes too drunk, she'd have the risky idea, wanting to find me, beg me to break up. But each time she got close, seeing me and my new girlfriend holding hands, smiling radiantly, she no longer had the courage to approach. Xiaowei knew me for 2 years, but had never seen such a happy smile on my face, because the days together couldn't be called normal. More accurately, they were painful, unforgettable days. She just watched me. Being with someone else was already so painful. Then before, when I watched her and Du Zitang, how did I feel? Until now, Xu Xiaowei finally felt it. But it was too late. She didn't listen to the advice of friends and family, stubbornly stayed in Milan, hoping for an outcome. Long days passed quickly. When the summer heat dissipated, Su Xiaowei waited for news that I had broken up. When first hearing it, she didn't dare believe, until people mentioned it many times. She finally dared to release the joy in her heart, smiling as she sought me out, wanting to comfort me, but everything was beyond expectation. I wasn't sad at all, looking at her as if, a few months ago, nothing different, like looking at air. The smile on Zhu Xiaowei's face froze. She cautiously asked, "Are you hurt at all?" This relationship for me was indeed a temporary infatuation. I was enchanted by her beauty, so loved her for a few months. Now, after seeing a lot, I am a bit bored. Just when she returned to her country, I used the opportunity to break up. Speaking of real feelings, I did invest some, but not much. So after breaking up, except for feeling a bit empty at first, I quickly returned to normal. So when Xu Xiaowei asked this sudden question, I was a bit speechless, looking at her for a long time, finally showed a polite smile. A peaceful breakup. She willing? Me agreeable. What is there to be hurt about? Hearing this, Xu Xiaowei's heart lightened, but a second later was cut off by me, no matter how great the hurt, compared to 2 years ago. What is it? Weren't you a witness? Why pretend to sympathize? These mocking words made Xu Xiaowei panic. She wanted to explain. I didn't give her the chance. The matter from that year, I can explain. How you stop. Say more, and it'll be annoyed. Xiaowei, don't act in front of me anymore. I can't appreciate the performance of 3 parts coldness, 3 parts cruelty, 4 parts clumsiness. If you like to act, go back to your country and find Zitang and your friends. Will you? They will certainly support you. A few sentences made Xu Xiaowei's face redden, not daring to open her mouth. After speaking, I pushed her away, walked straight into the academic building. Now the love fever had passed. I should focus on my studies. I had promised Professor Tong I would achieve success, return to my country to repay his kindness. After going through so much, Xu Xiaowei was no longer hurt by my words. In fact, she rallied, prepared to continue confessing. From the 50th time to the 99th, from late summer to cold winter, before the flower bed she prepared, brilliant fireworks, drones flying in Milan's sky. She never stopped trying. I had no reaction, even felt lucky. Lucky that I had changed how people called me. Now everyone called my English name. Very few people knew. I was the Lu Hao Yu being confessed to. At this point, the confession methods Xu Xiaowei thought of had exhausted all ideas. Anyway, the previous 99 times hadn't moved me. She was truly helpless. Finally, with friends, reminders, she thought of a method. For the 100th confession, she chose a small garden in the school. In the garden, she arranged a giant domino row, recreating the scene of our first meeting. She used many starlights hung on tree branches, prepared to light up the garden with candles at night, taking me back to the past. To lure me there, Xu Xiaowei asked many people for help, prepared dozens of plans. This time, she was determined to make me understand. Back then, she truly loved me at first sight. Now, she sincerely regretted her mistakes. Everything was ready. There was just one incident. At the appointed time, the male lead didn't appear. Those asked to help couldn't find me. All prepared plans were ineffective. Looking at the elaborate surprise about to fail, Xu Xiaowei lost control. She seemed to go crazy, driving around looking everywhere possible. The alarm bell rang. The dark forest brightened with lights. Countless balloons rose up. Flowers and feathers fell from the sky. Romantic piano sounds echoed in the forest. Non-stop clicking sounds were the automatic falling domino row. 1 second, one sound, lasting over 10 minutes. When the final domino piece fell, all candles lit up. Brilliant light, illuminating the swan dance painting on the ground. All surprises were completed, but Su Xiaowei felt the strength in her body was completely drained. She leaned on the nearby flower stand, forehead beaded with sweat, eyes losing focus. The reason was nothing else, just that to her right, the position reserved for the male led, there was no one. I didn't come to the scene of her 100th confession, just as I didn't attend my own 100th confession. Xu Xiaowei knew. I must have seen through her intention, deliberately disappeared without a trace, and the truth was just as she thought. When everything settled down, her phone rang. It was an unknown international number. but as soon as she answered, she immediately recognized, on the other end of the phone, was me, along with the sound of waves and a few soft laughs. I heard tonight you plan to confess for the 100th time. Pity I am not in Milan. I am really sorry. Her heart seemed burned to ashes. After hearing the familiar voice, she again kindled some hope. She swallowed down the pain and unwillingness, pretending to be calm in her response. It's okay. You called me. I am already very happy, as long as you want. I can prepare the 101st, 102nd confession. Her voice contained expectation, as if already dreaming of me forgiving her. I didn't want to create illusions, looking at the rolling sea waves before me and the warm sunlight shining on me, voice carrying some cheerfulness. No need. Today I called just to tell you two things. Xu Xiaowei gulped, hand tightly gripping the phone, eyes flashing, not knowing if it was sudden hope or the flickering candlelight reflection. The first thing is to remind you, now it's winter. The weather is dry. After you're done, blow out all the candles in the garden, lest you cause a great disaster. Hearing this, Xu Xiaowei looked up, saw a dry leaf falling slowly, spinning in the air. The second thing is to announce good news. I am in love again. This girlfriend is even a little prettier than the previous one. You can stop confessing at the 100th time. A few simple sentences echoed countless times in Xu Xiaowei's mind, as if under a spell, brainwashed by these words, forehead pierced with pain, suffering to the extreme. She had no strength left. Clack, the phone fell down, hitting the candle stand. Unfortunately, for easy measurement and arrangement of candles, the candle stands were tied together with silk ribbon. One candle fell, pulling down those nearby. The hot flame spread, burning into the dry leaves and feathers on the ground, then spreading to the wooden dominoes. The east wind blew strongly. In just a few breaths, fire erupted in the garden. Xu Xiaowei's eyes reflected the sky-high flames. The cold on her body was dispelled by the heat, but she didn't run away or call for help. She was like a statue, becoming part of the garden. Overnight, the trees in the garden burned down. The only luck was that no one was hurt when preparing this surprise to keep it secret. Xu Xiaowei paid to clear everyone from the surroundings. When the accident happened, she was alone. Firefighters arrived in time, rescued her nearly unconscious from smoke. Although she luckily survived, the consequences of her reckless action could not be erased. The fire angered the school administration. They were determined to hold someone responsible as the main suspect. Xu Xiaowei was arrested by the police. The Xu family heard the news, panicked, used all connections for bail, but this was an international case. Xu Xiaowei couldn't escape completely. In the end, the Xu family compensated nearly half their assets, committed to compensating the school 10 times over. Only then did the school compromise, due to the serious impact. Xu Xiaowei was imprisoned for half a year, was blacklisted by the UU, was expelled, permanently banned from entry. Just out of prison, she was taken straight to the airport, prepared to be sent back to her country, looking at people wearing summer clothes. Xu Xiaowei felt as if in a dream, only becoming slightly clear-headed, realizing it was already summer. 6 months had passed. I hadn't visited her once. Realizing this, complex emotions welled up in her heart. Unclear if disappointment or loneliness, days ahead were still long. There would be chances to meet again. Xu Xiaowei comforted herself, but just as she turned her head, she saw me walking out from the guest entrance. Months without meeting. My face showed no fatigue. Looking over, only a radiant smile. But what hurt Xu Xiaowei most wasn't the smile on my face, but my hand. In prison, she had once asked a friend to visit, bring her photos of my girlfriend, although only seeing through glass. Xu Xiaowei still remembered that face, but the person standing beside Lu Haoyu now wasn't the person in her memory. She was confused, not knowing if she remembered wrong, or if friends had made a mistake. Just as I looked up and saw her, rarely enthusiastic, waved in greeting, as if nothing had happened. I greeted her, then comfortably told her the truth. Hey, long time no see. I just returned from traveling in Germany. You're out already? Time flies like an arrow. Let me introduce. This is my new girlfriend, Xu Xiaowei. After returning to her country, asked several people to message me, asking if I was acting or sincere. I didn't answer. By now, I had completely seen through Xu Xiaowei. She said she liked me, but in reality, she only loved herself. To her, I was just something to show off, satisfying her distorted self-esteem. In Xu Xiaowei's eyes, everything was just an excuse she created, so I was too lazy to pay attention to her. Also despised paying attention to her. Even if she proved it 100 times, or 200 times, even 1,000 times, I wouldn't glance at her. No need to waste time on such people. In my second year studying in Milan, I seized opportunities to participate in many competitions, broadening my horizons. Also built a reputation. I was busy with professors, friends researching popular fashion. Next, gathering, relaxing with friends, traveling the world with girlfriends, experiencing a beautiful life together. Life is still long. I have a vast future ahead, unpredictable to discover. Why look at the wrong person again? Fall into a swamp? Time passed day by day. 3 years of study abroad quickly ended. I returned home with a suitcase full of gold medals. Just after getting off the plane, saw my parents and some roommates holding flowers in welcome. Long time no see. I was very moved. Ran to hug everyone. The group chatted while walking to the pre-booked restaurant. I met Professor Tong again after 3 years. Solemnly placed the suitcase before him, raised my hand, joked a little. Reporting to you, Professor, your student Lu Haoyu has completed the mission you assigned. Please check the 3-year results. Professor Tong, of course, knew the works I designed overseas, but after a long time apart, he happily joked along with me, lightly patted my shoulder, pretending to be serious. Don't be arrogant. You must strive to reach higher. The teacher-student conversation made everyone laugh. My mother enthusiastically invited everyone to sit down and eat, toasting, raising cups. The atmosphere was lively and happy. After being full, I took several invitation letters from my bag, distributed them to everyone, eyes full of joy. Today, I invited everyone to gather, besides reminiscing. I also want to invite you all to attend the fashion show I've been preparing. Hearing this, even Professor Tong showed surprise. A fashion show in Milan. Professor, you must come to check the results. Roommates also cheered. When is it? I'll apply for a visa right away. Is there still time? How you? We want VIP seats. Hearing everyone's genuine joy, my heart warmed. This fashion show was organized by my professor in Milan. Thanks to 3 years of effort achieving excellent results, I finally had the opportunity to display my works. This was my first time on a big stage, so I thought I needed to share this precious stage with those who truly valued me. Those invited didn't disappoint my expectations. On the appointed day, everyone arrived at the airport, not missing anyone, carrying expectations and anticipation. I, along with everyone, boarded the flight that would perhaps open a new life. Before going, I looked back around, saw a familiar figure outside the boarding gate. It was ex-Yu Xiaowei, but my eyes didn't linger on her, because I knew she had no qualification to enter Milan, also no longer had a ticket into my life. We were just two people, among countless people, about to pass by each other, no longer connected.